Do your kids fail enough? And why is that so important? That's coming up next. Hi, I'm Chad Bullock, the founder of Future Proof Kids and the Ready Aim Parent podcast, where we help you teach skills to kids that really matter in business and life. Failure. When you hear that word, what do you think about? Or how do you feel? You know, most of us think of failure in a negative way. We think of it as bad, but the truth is, failure can be a great teacher to our kids. It can actually teach kids what researchers are finding out to be the #1 success factor in life, and that's grit. What is that anyway? Well, grit is the ability to persist even when you have setbacks or struggles or hard times. The only way to develop grit is to have experienced failure and then dealt with it in a positive way. And that doesn't come naturally. And if you want your kids to have it, you'll need to do some coaching. In a recent Time magazine article, Eric Barker wrote the following. Increasingly, researchers are seeing that aptitude isn't everything, and that non-cognitive skills like persistence can be more important than intelligence in the long run. Pretty interesting, isn't it? Because all these years, we've focused on measuring IQ and looking at our kids' standardized test scores. But in reality, it's things like persistence and self-motivation and self-control that are really going to empower our kids to achieve their hopes and dreams. Shouldn't we be teaching that? We believe you should be. And that's what we focus on at Future Proof Kids and the courses we share with our parents. In Silicon Valley, some of the most innovative companies in the world have figured this out. Fail fast and fail often is a common phrase you'll hear. But what does that mean? Failing fast is all about trying different things rapidly until you find a new product, service, or idea that's going to work. And it's all about getting better with each failure because you learn something from the previous one. Those companies have an expectation that you try something new and fail in the pursuit of something good. It's not only accepted that you do it, it's expected that you do it as an employee. They've created this culture of experimentation. But why would they do this anyway? Well, it's because if you aren't trying new things, you aren't innovating for that company, for the next new product they can sell, the next new service they can sell. This is a completely different way of thinking about mistakes and failures. Now stop for a minute and think about your own house. What type of culture have you created around mistakes and failure for your kids? Is making a mistake the worst thing that can happen? When they get something wrong, is your face filled with disappointment and frustration? Or do you really see that as an opportunity to teach them and help them get better? You know, if you look at people who've reached a higher level in life, either financially or academically or musically or whatever you want to pick, one of the biggest reasons they've gotten there is because they've developed grit and they've persevered all the way through the struggles to get there. What happens with a lot of people though? They try something new, the first thing they try doesn't work out, so they just give up. Or maybe they're a little tougher than that. They try something new, but then it starts getting really hard, they make some mistakes, and then they give up. Here's a great example. Think about the thousands of would-be golfers in the world. You can go to their house, open up the garage door, and in the corner you're gonna find a set of golf clubs covered with dust. And why? If you've never played golf before, golf is an incredibly difficult sport to do well and to do consistently, so most people just give up. The lesson here is you can be super intelligent. You can be at the top of the creative charts. But if you want to really accomplish anything big, if you want your kids to achieve their hopes and dreams, they can't give up when the going gets tough. So how can you help your kids embrace failure and then press on? Well, there are a number of different strategies you can use, and we've studied the most successful business people and what they do, what the military does, and what researchers have found that has worked for kids too. And we're going to focus on 3 of those today. Number 1, first, focus on the improvement that you've seen. You know, it can be incredibly disheartening when your son's soccer team has lost every game this season, which is exactly what has happened to our son. But focus on the improvement you've seen, but be specific. For instance, with our son, I've noticed that he's much better at how he handles the ball. He's a lot faster, and he's much more focused on what's happening in the game. And we all have this deep-rooted desire to become better at something, to master something. And if we see there is some improvement, that is motivating for us to keep going even when the going gets tough. Number 2, praise the process they used. What you're trying to do is link the improvement you've seen to the process they used to get there. Now, this may seem like common sense, but when you're emotionally upset from experiencing a failure, it's hard, number 1, to think about how you've improved, and number 2, to think about what you did to get you improved. With our son, we focused on how he had been practicing dribbling the ball with his feet in the backyard, which has made him better at handling the ball. And secondly, we focused on all the racing he's been doing with his friends at school in order to increase his speed. Number 3, talk about what they learned. The important thing to remember and to ingrain in your child's way of thinking is that it's never a failure if you learn something from it. Every mistake, every failure, every quote-unquote misstep can be viewed as something terrible and sad, and it might very well be at that moment. But it's important to move towards a conversation of what they learned from it. But don't forget this. You got to empathize with them. You got to be there with them. Don't ignore their feelings. They're going to be feeling sad and frustrated. Be right there with them and feel those feelings with them. But then slowly move that conversation towards one of how they've improved, and then what did they learn from it so they can be better, faster, stronger the next go around. I remember a while back spending a big sum of money on a technology project, and it was an absolute disaster, failure. And we had nothing to show for it at the end of it. Now, I could have walked around dragging my knuckles on the ground, depressed and moping, and swear up and down I'll never try anything like that again. But thankfully, I focused on what I learned from it. And I realized I'm a lot stronger because of what I learned from that experience. And that is how we want our kids to think. Now, let me hear from all of you in the comments below. How are you going to implement these 3 things with your kids this week? Think of a place where they're struggling and you could use these strategies to help them. If we all put in our ideas and thoughts below, we begin to come together as a community of parents and educators and grandparents, and we can help each other work together. And if we do these things, we'll be raising future-proof kids. Hey, did you like this episode? If you did, there are 3 things you can do right now to continue your journey of future-proofing your kids. First, you can subscribe to our channel, and I hope you will so we can keep sending you helpful videos that help you future-proof your kids with great skills. Second, you can like our Facebook page, where we're always sharing great articles, quotes, and other things about the real skills your kids will need in their future business lives. And third, you can head on over to our website, sign up for our newsletter, where we can send you free offers, free trainings, free podcasts, and anything else we don't do here on this channel. So you can get started by clicking on any of the buttons you see right here, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video, and until then, keep future-proofing your kids.